So sometimes more site visitors is not a good thing, right? A lot of times when we look at site traffic, we tend to think that more traffic to the site is what our ultimate goal is. And if we can keep getting more and more visitors to our site, more and more people will learn about our institution and convert to potential enrollments and students within our institution. But what's shocking, and we've seen this more often than not, sometimes that's not the case, right? More traffic is not always a good thing. And this goes back to quality over quantity. And where we see a lot of challenges at times is people are building content, building infrastructure, building the site to basically look at scale versus quality, right? Um, and so, a lot of times the main things here is uh, why is this happening, right? And so, a lot from a traffic perspective, from an SEO perspective, when you're looking at Google Analytics, when your team is looking at the traffic, there's a few things to definitely look at. Number one, like basically, you're getting the wrong visitors. Why is that happening? Well, you may be targeting relevant keywords, but in the wrong context, right? For example, like if you're targeting medical billing and coding, keywords, but it's more geared towards medical billing jobs, or medical billing procedures, uh, those may not be the right types of prospects. Those actually might be folks that are in the industry already or already working, right? And so it's important to understand that you're basically attracting the right types of students. So you've got to have your ideal persona of who you're building that content for on the site, right? The other thing is, making sure that you're targeting very specific audiences, right? And when you're again going back to the content plan, going back to the clusters, going back to how all of this is built out, are you reaching that right type of audience, right? The other thing that can also happen is uh, data. When you're looking at the data, are you just looking at impressions? Are you just looking at new users? Um, are you also looking at bounce rates, time on site? There's so many other factors there that are critical and important, right? And then lastly, like, are you making sure that you're spending the time on the right prospects that are on your site and giving them the best experience, right? A consistent branded experience all the way through when they visit your site, giving them the relevant information that they're looking for, and then giving them options on ways to communicate, whether that's live chat, whether that's through a phone call, whether that's through filling out a form, right? You've got to have those things in place so you're not draining all your resources. How many admissions teams love to spend the day on the phones dialing out to folks who are not really interested or not a good fit, right? I would say probably very few. Um, and actually, a really good example that we ran into recently, we had a client that launched a new site. And one of the big concerns right after we launched the site, so we did a pre SEO audit, we did a post SEO audit, and right after we launched the site traffic dropped. It actually dropped by about 30%. Definitely concerning. But what we did was we dug into the data a bit more. We also looked at the key metric, which was conversions, right? Because site traffic, typically SEO leads are the highest converting. And so what we found, which was really interesting, was a majority of the traffic that we lost was very either insignificant from a conversion standpoint, and or just the not the right type of traffic. It was from older blogs, it was from older irrelevant keyword searches and terms from old programs. There was a lot there that just was no longer relevant. And the interesting thing about this, we actually saw a 10% increase in qualified leads that came through the site, even with a 30% decrease in traffic. So again, this goes back to quality over quantity every time. making sure you're attracting the right types of visitors to your site. That is key. If you need help with any of this, if you need any assistance in just digging into the data and understanding what's going on, reach out to us. We'd love to take a look and help where we can. Thanks.